Welcome back to Loop. Our mission here is to take a stack of, well, sometimes pretty dense source material.
Right. Theological texts, strategy papers.
Exactly. And to pull out the essential and often surprising wisdom. Today, we're dissecting a concept that really underpins success in every single organization: interdependence.
That's right. And we're going to challenge this cultural myth that strength is all about being self-sufficient. Our sources today, they're rooted in some ancient wisdom on collaboration, specifically from 1 Corinthians chapter 12, which uses the human body as, well, the ultimate metaphor for synergy.
And we're going to translate those principles into some highly practical, very modern lessons.
Yeah, on organizational health, media production, even how resources get distributed.
We really want to show you, the listener, that true strength isn't found in going it alone, but in mutual necessity. The core principle, and it's spelled out so vividly in the source material, is that the system only works when every part is respected.
If one part suffers, everyone suffers.
And if one part is honored, everyone rejoices. The sheer diversity within the body, the eye, the hand, the foot, it's not presented as a challenge. It's actually proof of its wisdom.
What's so fascinating right away is how these texts establish that mutual dependence is the default state of health.
Right.
I mean, if the body were just one massive eye or one giant hand, it would be totally incapable of functioning. Right?
Didn't do anything.
The system requires different skill sets, different levels of, let's say, visible importance, and different roles. And when a system is healthy, the parts that might seem less critical or less honorable, as the text puts it, they're often the ones treated with even greater care because their failure would be, well, catastrophic for the whole thing.
And that leads us right into what the sources identify as the inherent danger here, the I don't need you problem.
Ah, yes.
Think about it organizationally. When one part of the body, say a super successful department or a star employee, decides it's strong enough to go solo, what happens?
Well, the consequence isn't just that things get less efficient. It's a total breakdown of the system's health.
Yeah.
If you cut off circulation to a limb, that limb doesn't suddenly become stronger. It weakens, it gets sick, and eventually it dies, bringing some severe problems to the entire organism.
That isolation, it literally starves the part of things it didn't even realize it needed.
Blood, information, even just emotional support, all of it.
In a company or a community, this translates to really dangerous silos where knowledge isn't shared, resources get hoarded.
And internal competition just replaces collaboration.
Totally. If you isolate your marketing team, okay, maybe they win their own internal battles, but they lose connection to the product team and suddenly the entire product line just tanks.
The source material is just, it's unequivocal on this. The moment one limb says, I don't need you, that limb begins to weaken and die.
You can't separate a component from the circulatory system and expect it to survive.
Let alone thrive. And that organizational vulnerability is like a ticking clock, which brings us to one of the most surprising anecdotes in the sources. It really challenges our ideas about power dynamics.
This is the story of the world-renowned pastor.
Yeah, a hugely successful pastor, speaking at a conference filled with young, maybe entry-level ministers.
And this is where it gets really interesting because the speaker details how this super high-profile pastor spent an intentional amount of time. I mean, a lot of time.
Just shaking hands, chatting.
Genuinely engaging with these young individuals, many of whom, he would realistically never see again.
And the event organizer actually pulled him aside, a little frustrated.
Right, saying, why are you spending your valuable time on them? You have powerful donors and media contacts waiting.
That question, it implies such a transactional view of time, doesn't it? Spend it only on those who can immediately help you.
But the pastor's reason for it just flipped that completely on its head. He said the reason he'd achieved his current status was because of the support and the groundwork laid by people just like them.
Maybe decades ago. It wasn't about what he needed now. It was about honoring the whole system and investing in the future.
I think we need to just sit with that for a second because it holds such a powerful strategic lesson. This wasn't him just being nice.
No, not at all. He was maintaining the long-term resilience of his entire network.
But is there a risk there? That, that this kind of investment could be seen as purely transactional by the younger staff, that the powerful person is just networking downward for some future gain?
That's a really important question, but the way he framed it in the source material suggests the total opposite of manipulation. It points to, I think, authentic relational integrity.
Okay.
He used a metaphor that just summarizes this perfectly. He said, I may be standing on the high slope now and not need them.
But there will come a day when I am going downhill and will need them.
Exactly.
Wow, that just reframes the entire power structure, doesn't it? It acknowledges this cyclical nature of influence. Right now, you might be at your peak, where all the resources are flowing to you. But the second you start to retire or transition or face a crisis, when you're going downhill,
You move from being a resource hub to a resource recipient.
and who are the people who will advocate for you then? Or support your legacy? Or just remember your name with kindness?
The people you invested in when you were on that high slope.
It's brilliant long-term thinking. It really is. It ensures that the knowledge and the good governance of the organization survives past the current leadership.
So if that's the philosophical stake we've put in the ground, let's now look at the very real physical cost of ignoring interdependence. Which brings us to this extensive case study from the speaker who is serving in the remote eastern region of Taiwan in Hualien.
And this individual, they have served for 35 years in the East.
35 years, since 1991.
That's an enormous sustained commitment in a region where resources are, pretty scarce compared to the big cities.
And for a long time, this speaker embraced what they thought was strength, absolute self-reliance.
And we can actually quantify that burden. For years, the speaker was managing completely alone the production of, 10 to 12 daily programs.
Sometimes even more, yeah. We're talking content for these really specific community outreach channels like Beipu Channel and Gospel Refrigerator.
I mean, just imagine the continuous, intense workload required to keep that volume of content flowing single-handedly.
The physical toll was, well, it was devastating. The speaker suffered from a specific, very painful injury. Tendinitis.
Trigger finger.
Yeah, from the repetitive, high-volume tasks they insisted on doing alone. It's such a profound and painful, literal manifestation of that body metaphor we started with.
The system, his own physical body, it just broke down because one part, the hand, was forced to operate as the entire system.
It was trying to do the work of a full production staff, and that crisis had forced a reckoning. How could the organization possibly maintain this crucial output without permanently damaging the staff?
The only way forward was a modern embrace of interdependence, which meant integrating technology as a team member.
And this is where ancient scripture meets the 21st century. The organization brought in what the source material fascinatingly calls their AI artificial intelligence colleagues.
At Beipu Church, colleagues, I love that.
The choice of the word colleagues versus, say, tools is so significant.
It really is.
It signals a whole shift in philosophy. They aren't just using software. They are integrating technology as a trusted, necessary part of the body.
Recognizing its unique strength speed, it doesn't get tired.
And its processing power, all complementing the human team's creativity and empathy.
And the workflow they've set up is just a fantastic example of modern synergy. This AI-enabled team now handles all the high-volume, repetitive tasks that caused the tendinitis in the first place.
We're talking about massive amounts of automated subtitling, content downloading, detailed AI summaries,
and integrating licensed images, videos, music, all packaged up into a complete, ready-to-share video. The burden is distributed, it's optimized.
And the shift wasn't just about saving the speaker's health, it was about scaling their impact. This new collaborative system now lets the organization produce content in English, Taiwanese, and Mandarin. And they're even using AI to create simplified versions of sermons and courses, which just dramatically broadens understanding.
It ensures the vision's succession. It's about growth, not just survival.
Exactly. Collaboration is about exponential growth.
Now, interdependence isn't just confined to digital production. The sources pivot to a second and equally important tangible example.
Right. This one's about financial support and the practical flow of compassion out in the field.
And it highlights the immense challenges faced by frontline staff in these remote locations.
The sources, they detail the shockingly low pay for clergy families serving in these eastern areas. We're talking salaries around, 35,000 TWD per month.
Yeah, even for those with decades of experience. And just to give that number some real-world context for our global audience, 35,000 TWD is roughly, I think it's about $1,100 US a month.
For a family in a remote area, even with lower costs, that is an immense financial strain, a daily struggle. External support becomes absolutely vital.
So the system itself doesn't adequately compensate those on the front lines.
Not at all. Yeah. And this is where external interdependence has to step in. The source details the Selling Compassion Sin's Heart project, an initiative funded by a long-term donor, Brother Lee from Xinjiang.
And it's designed specifically to bridge that gap. to provide essential assistance during holidays and festivals.
So it's a systematic mechanism. It ensures that when one part of the body, these remote families, is suffering from systemic underfunding,
another external part steps in to compensate.
That's the key. And the speaker's personal commitment to this project is just. It's a profound demonstration of mutual care. They don't just send a wire transfer and call it a day.
No, they commit significant time and effort, sometimes traveling 1,500 kilometers round trip over 2 days.
Think about that. A 2-day journey in a remote area just to deliver funds and check on 4 or 5 families.
That physical commitment, that 1,500-kilometer journey, that is the interdependence made real. It shows you the logistics of compassion. They're visiting to check on needs, distribute the funds personally, and help these families navigate the paperwork for government subsidies they might not even know about.
It confirms the ultimate lesson, really. Mutual care requires sacrifice, planning, and personal presence, not just good intentions.
It connects right back to that original principle. If one part suffers, all suffer.
And you are demonstrating that the suffering is shared, and so is the effort to alleviate it. The body of the organization works when the healthier parts commit their resources. Time, money, physical effort to stabilize the parts under strain.
So what does this whole arc from scripture to the pastor's strategy to the AI team and this financial road trip, what does it mean for you in your professional life?
Right. You might not be a minister in Hualien, but these lessons, they're universal for any organization.
The rule applies directly to your career, whether you're in finance or engineering or education. The wisdom of that pastor's rationale holds true. Regardless of your current position, your career is a cycle. You might be on the high slope now, feeling invincible.
But the time will come when you are going downhill, shifting roles, retiring, or just facing a personal crisis.
And the ultimate takeaway here is that organizational health, resources, support, the flow of love, as the source puts it, it has to be proactive and shared.
The people you mentor now, the staff you treat with deep respect, even when they don't report to you.
The network you build by being generous when you don't strictly need anything, these are the relationships that will sustain your future.
That support network might just become the most timely assistance you ever received during your own moments of vulnerability.
No one, regardless of their title or success, is truly self-sufficient.
We've taken a pretty deep dive here, moving from ancient scripture to organizational burnout.
Establishing the power of modern AI teams and analyzing the gritty logistics of financial aid for remote workers.
And it all circles back to that central truth, articulated thousands of years ago. Every single diverse part of the body is absolutely necessary.
It's a powerful realization that necessity really does breed wisdom. But before we wrap up, we want to leave you with a reflective question. It's posed within the original source material, and we hope it stays with you.
If you had to define your primary role in your organization or your community right now, what specific part of the body are you?
And who is one person you currently feel you don't need? Maybe someone entry-level, remote, or outside your usual sphere, but whom you might one day critically depend on. Take that thought with you. We hope this has given you some food for thought, and we wish you good rest and peace, knowing that wherever you are an essential and necessary part of the whole.
We'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.